Hi everyone, it's Lisa Mears. Thank you for joining me. Today I want to share with you a bundle of products that is available at Scrapbookcom. This bundle is the Christmas Essentials bundle and it includes everything that you see here. So I have the rub-on transfers in the Peppermint Holiday. This includes 2 pages of rub-ons, and these rub-ons are transferable to any smooth surface such as paper, wood, fabric, and glass. You can use them on your cards, scrapbook pages, traveler's notebooks, DIY projects, and more. So I'm just going to open these up so that you can take a look at both of the pages. You also get the little popsicle stick that you can transfer the design with. These rub-ons are super easy to use. You just place the rub-on over top of your cardstock or whatever you want to transfer it to, and then rub that popsicle stick over the design. So here's a look at the second page. You have some sentiments on there as well as some borders, and I love those borders because you can actually use those on an A2 size card. They fit perfectly. Also included in this bundle is the Peppermint Smooth Cardstock. This is the Slimline size paper pad. And this paper pad matches the Peppermint Holiday rub-ons perfectly. There is also the FaLaLa word die and the stitched border strips, which are Christmas themed. There are 9 border strips and they are slimline in size, and they have designs on them that will put an embossed design on your cardstock, such as Christmas trees, stars, holly, snowflakes, and more. Although at the time of filming this video, I don't have the exact price of the bundle to share with you, I can tell you that whenever Scrapbook.com has these live stream deals, they are always at an amazing low price and they usually don't last long. I will include a link to this bundle down in the description box of this video, which will take you to the product page where you can see the cost. I also want to mention that everything that you see in this bundle is also available individually, so if the bundle happens to sell out, you may be able to pick up individual items, and I'll have those links in the description box as well. I will also have a coordinating blog post where you will be able to see up-close pictures of all of the projects I make with this bundle, as well as a supply list. I will include my coordinating blog post link in the description box of this video. So my first project today is going to be a slimline card. And I'm going to start out by cutting out the rub-ons that I want to use on my card. I'm going to be cutting out all of the Christmas ornaments that you see here. And I did cut them out individually. And I also want to include the bows that are on this rub-on sheet, because I'm going to have those bows at the top of my ornaments. So I'll cut the bows out as well. And off camera, I will separate all of those bows by cutting them out individually as well. I'm also going to cut this border because I'm going to use that on my card as well. I cut a piece of white cardstock to 7 3/4 inches by 2 3/4 inches, and I'm adding it to my sticky grid on my Sizzix stamp and stencil tool. Now the rub-ons have 2 layers on them. You have the top layer, which is the design, and then there's a backing layer. You want to make sure you keep the layers together when you cut the design from the rub-on sheet. And then once you decide where you're going to put your rub-on, just take the backing layer off like I did just a moment ago. So here I'm just working with the design layer, which is the top layer, and I'm placing it across the length of my slimline piece of white cardstock. And I'm just pressing it down, and then I'm going to take my popsicle stick that came with the rub-on transfers, and I'm just going to rub it on top of the design. So I'm just going to make sure I get all of that design and just rub it on, and it's just rubbing it into the cardstock. Now it really helps having that cardstock stuck down to the sticky grid, because notice that the cardstock is not moving. I don't have it held down by anything but the sticky top on that sticky grid. So after applying some pressure with that popsicle stick, slowly remove that transfer sheet and make sure your design has transferred. If it hasn't, then you can just reapply or reposition your rub-on transfer sheet and then just use your popsicle stick again to rub that transfer design on. Next, I took 5 of the ornaments and I positioned them where I want them. They still have the backing on, but once I have them in position for where I want them, I take the backing sheet off and then press that rub-on onto my cardstock. The rub-on actually has a little bit of a sticky back, so once you take the back sheet off, you can then stick down your rub-on to your cardstock. But don't take the backing off until you're absolutely sure where you want it, because if the backing is not on that rub-on sheet, the rub-on could actually transfer to the cardstock by mistake if you don't have it in an actual place where you want it on your final card. So I went ahead and took the backing off all of those ornament pieces, pressed those ornaments down onto the cardstock, and now I'm just going to take my popsicle stick and I'm going to apply some pressure and rub those rub-on designs onto my cardstock. Once I've applied pressure to all of those designs, I slowly remove that plastic sheet, make sure the entire design has transferred, and if not, I'll just reapply it and then add more pressure with the popsicle stick until I have it completely applied. So you can see there, I've done that for a few of them. The design wasn't fully on there, so I just added the sheet back and added more pressure with that popsicle stick. Now I'm going to add the bows. I'm not going to add a bow to every single ornament, but I am going to add a bow to a few of them. So once I have the bows where I want them, I will remove the backing off of the bow and add the rub-on to the cardstock. Just press it down because remember it does have a little bit of a sticky back. And then once I have all of those rub-ons in place, I'll take my popsicle stick and rub that on to the cardstock. Next, I'll start to remove that rub-on sheet, and again, if I see any design that is not fully transferred, I'll just add that sheet right back to the cardstock and then use my popsicle stick again. But this is pretty easy, and I was pretty impressed with how easily these rub-ons transfer to the cardstock. I decided I wanted to add some snowflakes to some of the white areas. So I'm going back to my rub-on sheet and I'm going to cut out some of the snowflakes. I'm going to cut out each snowflake individually because I want to position them in random spots on this card. I also die cut the FaLaLa word die out of some gold glitter paper, and that is from the Scrapbookcom mixed metals paper pad. So I just positioned that FaLaLa on my card because I knew that that was where I wanted it to go. And with it positioned there, I haven't glued it down or anything. I'm just positioning all of the snowflakes where I want them. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't put a snowflake underneath the FaLaLa. I wanted to put it around it. So I'm going ahead and taking off the backing off of those snowflakes and then pressing them down. And then I'll go ahead and use my popsicle stick to put some pressure on those rub-ons so that they adhere to my cardstock. And once I've done that, I'll go ahead and remove the plastic sheet to reveal the snowflakes. Next, I'm just taking my ruler and a gold glitter gel pen, and I'm just drawing a straight line from the ornament to the top of that border. Next, I'm going to add that entire layer to my pink piece of cardstock. This pink cardstock is 8 by 3 inches. It is from the Slimline paper pad. And then I'm going to add that to a piece of teal cardstock. Now this teal cardstock I didn't cut. That is 8.5 by 3.5 inches. I just tore that out of the Slimline paper pad and it's already the exact size I need. Next I'm going to go ahead and add glue to the FaLaLa word die, and I'm going to add it to my card. And I waited till now to add this because you can see that the F actually will extend below that white part of the cardstock. It extends onto the colored cardstock. So that's why I waited to add that to the card. Now I'm just going to add this entire layer to a Slimline card base. My Slimline card base measures 8.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and this card is now complete. For my next project, I'm going to take this sheet of the rub-on transfers and I'm just going to cut the transfer that I want to use. I love this sheet because this sheet has a set of 2 floral frames and they will fit perfectly on an A2 size card front. I'm going to cut through that border, making sure I don't cut on top of the border. And I'm going to cut out this sentiment that says Holly Jolly. I'm going to use the Holly Jolly words on my project, but the border I'm going to set aside and I'll use that later on. So I have this white Christmas ornament that I picked up at Michael's, and I'm going to put the words Holly Jolly on the front of this ornament. But it's not going to fit if I leave it on all one line, so I am going to cut around the words so that I can put it on 2 lines. Now, the ornament that I'm using has a flat front. I chose to use the flat front just because I knew it would be easier to get these rub-ons on there. You can try to put it on a round shape ornament and I'm sure it will be fine. I suggest that if you are using a round shaped ornament, you might want to tape your rub-ons to the ornament. I think that will help with keeping the rub-on in place as you use your popsicle stick to rub it on. But here I just removed the back of the word holly and then I pressed the word holly onto my ornament because remember it does have a sticky back, and all I'm doing is holding the ornament so it doesn't shift, and then once I have it on there I go ahead and peel the backing off. I did notice a little piece that was not fully rubbed on to that ornament, so I just reapplied the plastic and use the popsicle stick again to finish rubbing that on. So next I added the word jolly and I'm rubbing that on as well. Notice that I did cut out some of the leaves just because I knew that if I left them on the word jolly that it was not going to fit correctly onto that ornament. So you can see them there on the table. There's a couple sets of leaves there on the table. So after I finish adding the word jolly, I'll go ahead and position one more leaf. I think I just add 3 of them, and then I'll put the leaf on to the ornament. So I'm going to take this leaf and I'm going to put it here off to the right. And then once I have everything on there, I'll go ahead and add a bow to the top of this ornament, and that's how easy it is to make your own Christmas ornament using these rub-ons. Next, I have a glass mason jar that I also picked up at Michael's. I cut the word joy out and I'm going to add it to the center of my mason jar. I'm going to go ahead and take my popsicle stick and rub that word on there. And then I'm going to slowly peel back that plastic sheet to reveal the rub-on. So you can create your own little gifts as well using these rub-ons. I am going to add some flowers to this, so I am going to come back to my rub-on sheet and I'm going to cut out one of these flowers, the pink flower in particular. And once I have that cut out, I'll go ahead and add that to the mason jar. So I'll add that one to the right side, and I also cut out another one that I'm going to add to the left side. So there is my mason jar, and of course I have to fill it with some of the Scrapbookcom pops of color that match the peppermint colors of this package of rub-on transfers. So this is a perfect gift to give to a crafty friend, but of course you can always fill this with candy or whatever you want, other treats for the holidays to give to someone else. Next, I'm going to make an A2 size card using that border frame that I previously cut out. So I'm attaching my cardstock to my sticky grid on my Sizzix stamp and stencil tool, and then I'm going to take my rub-on transfer and remove the backing sheet. I'm going to add the rub-on transfer to the white piece of cardstock, and that white piece of cardstock measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And once I have it in place, I'm going to just press it down with my fingers and it will stay in place because, again, the sticky back is holding it onto the cardstock. And the cardstock is being held down with the sticky grid sheet. So you can see that nothing is moving and it's staying perfectly aligned while I use the popsicle stick just to rub over all of that design. And it's just pressing that design into the cardstock. And after I've gone over the entire sheet, I can slowly remove that transfer sheet from my cardstock. Just like with my previous projects, make sure you pull that sticky backing up slowly to make sure that the design is fully pressed into the cardstock. But look how beautiful that transfer is. Okay, so next I'm going to take this bow and I'm going to cut it out, transfer it onto some cardstock, and then I'm going to use my scissors to fussy cut it out of the cardstock. Next, I'm taking several colors of cardstock from the Peppermint paper pad, and I'm going to die cut some of the Slimline Christmas border strips from that cardstock. I'm just using some mint tape to hold them in place, and then I will run them through my die cutting machine. I'm going to be die cutting them out to make a circle shape, and you'll see what I'm talking about in just a minute. But in the meantime, I've already die cut 4 strips using different papers in the Peppermint Smooth Cardstock paper pad. I just cut them down into smaller strips, and I'm going to glue them down onto some white cardstock using a pattern. So I start with the red, then I add the blue, I'll add the pink, and then that light greenish gray color. And once I have all of those strips adhered to the white cardstock, I'm going to use my Scrapbookcom nested circle die and die cut that out. So you can see that beautiful embossed pattern on all of those strips. I think that is so pretty. And I'm going to use this as a Christmas ornament on my card. So in the meantime, I am going to get my sentiment ready. So I have the FaLaLa die that I die cut out of black cardstock, as well as some silver glitter cardstock from the Mixed Metals paper pad. And I'm adding the black die cut on top of the silver die cut and offsetting it a little bit so that you can see some of that glitter peeking through. So now I'm ready to put my card together. I have a piece of white cardstock that I cut to 2.5 by 3 3/4. I'm going to layer that onto a piece of the red cardstock that measures 2 5/8 by 3 7/8. And then I have the white with the rub-ons. That one I cut to 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and I'll add that to a piece of the red cardstock that measures 4 by 5 1/4. Now the large piece of the red cardstock I got from the Peppermint 6 by 8 paper pad. So even though this kit comes with the Slimline paper pad, you can also get all of those same colors in larger paper pads. So they have the Peppermint in the A2 size as well as the 6 by 8 size, and for that larger red I did use the 6 by 8 size. So now I'm ready to add the ornament. I'm going to glue the bow on to my circle, and then I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to add some scrap white pieces of cardstock to the back of the bow, because right now the bow is sitting on top of a few layers of cardstock. So in order for this to lay flat onto my card, I need to add some scrap cardstock to the back so that it lays flat. So I added the ornament and the FaLaLa die, and then I'm going to add that to an A2 size white card base. And then I added 3 of the Spellbinders opal gems to the top right hand corner of the ornament. And I just love how this card turned out. So once again, here are all the projects I created with the Christmas Essentials bundle at Scrapbook.com. If you are interested in this bundle or any products I used today, check the description box for product links. I would love to know which project was your favorite. Leave me a comment down below. Also, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more card making tutorials from me, be sure you click that subscribe button and turn on your bell notifications so that you are notified every time I release a new video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.